Listen to me closely. If you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. and your eyes open for no reason, no alarm, no noise, no disturbance, that is not random. That moment is not trying to scare you. It is trying to awaken you. Most people roll over and fall back asleep, but the ones who change their lives, they pay attention. Tonight, I'm going to tell you what to do when that moment finds you. When you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., the first enemy you face is fear. Your heart beats a little faster. Your mind starts searching for a reason. Why am I awake? Is something wrong? That reaction is human, but it's also the trap. Because the moment you panic, you turn a powerful signal into a problem that doesn't exist. Let me tell you this clearly. Nothing is broken in you. You are not weak. You are not losing control. What's happening is that the noise of the world has finally gone quiet enough for your inner voice to speak, and you're not used to hearing it without distractions. Think about this. During the day, your mind is hijacked by deadlines, messages, responsibilities, and pressure. You move nonstop, you perform, you survive. But at night, especially in that window between 3 and 5 a.m., your nervous system drops its armor. The masks fall off. That's when the truth shows up. And truth doesn't knock gently. It wakes you up. I've seen people who were stuck for years, confused, restless, unfulfilled, start waking up at that exact hour right before their lives changed. A man questioning a career that paid well but drained his soul. A woman waking up night after night before she finally admitted she was living for everyone except herself. They thought something was wrong with their sleep. What was really happening is that their spirit was done being ignored. Panic comes from misunderstanding. Awareness comes from trust. When you tell yourself, this is a signal, not a threat. Your body relaxes, your breathing slows, and in that calm space, insight begins to form. You stop running from the moment and start listening to it. That's where power lives. Remember this, anxiety screams, but guidance whispers, and whispers can only be heard in stillness. That early morning awakening isn't trying to scare you, it's trying to align you. It's a reminder that there is more inside you than the life you're currently tolerating. So instead of fighting the moment, sit with it, let it speak, because the people who learn to stay calm in that hour are often the same people who wake up later in life with clarity, courage, and direction. When you wake up in that quiet hour and your eyes open to the darkness, what you do with your body decides what happens next in your mind. This is where most people miss the moment. They stay lying down, wrapped in blankets, half awake, half asleep, drifting between fear and fantasy. And in that position, clarity cannot fully reach you. Lying down keeps you passive. It tells your brain, I'm not ready. But the moment you sit up, feet on the floor, spine straight, chest open, you send a powerful message to your entire system. I am present. Your body listens before your mind does. Posture is not just physical, it's psychological. Soldiers don't receive commands lying flat. Leaders don't make decisions collapsed in comfort. When you sit up in that hour, you step out of confusion and into awareness. Your breath deepens. Your nervous system shifts. The fog begins to lift. You're no longer trapped in the dream. You're conscious inside the moment. I've watched people transform this simple action into a turning point. One man told me he used to wake up every night around 4 a.m. with his chest tight, thoughts racing. He would lie there, staring at the ceiling, letting fear grow bigger and bigger. One night, exhausted of feeling powerless, he sat up, just sat up, and in that posture, something changed. His breathing slowed, his thoughts stopped attacking him. For the first time, he felt in control. That night didn't solve his life, but it gave him back his authority. Sitting up is an act of respect toward yourself. It says, this moment matters. You're not dismissing the awakening, you're meeting it. You're telling your mind, I'm strong enough to face whatever wants my attention. And strength invites clarity. There's a reason breakthroughs don't come when you're collapsed in comfort. Growth demands engagement. Even 2 minutes sitting on the edge of your bed can shift your entire state. You don't need answers yet. You don't need a plan. You just need presence. Because when your body rises, your awareness rises with it. And in that still, upright posture, when the world is silent and your heart is steady, you create space for something rare, truth without noise. That's where direction begins. That's where power returns. And that's why you don't stay lying down. You rise to meet the moment that came looking for you. When you wake up in that sacred window and you've calmed your body, there comes a moment that separates the drifters from the leaders. The moment you choose to ask one powerful question. Not a desperate question, not a fearful one, not, why is this happening to me? That question weakens you. It scatters your focus. Instead, you ask a question that opens doors instead of closing them. A question that commands clarity. Something like, what am I meant to see right now? Or, what in my life needs my attention? And then, this part is critical, you stop talking. Most people are afraid of silence because silence answers honestly. We live in a world addicted to noise, explanations, reassurance, constant input. But that hour between 3 and 5 a.m. doesn't respond to noise. It responds to stillness. When you ask one clear question and sit with it, you're not begging for answers. You're signaling readiness. You're saying, I'm mature enough to receive the truth. I've seen this moment change lives. A woman once shared how she kept waking up at 3:30 a.m. for weeks. One night, instead of fighting it, she asked quietly, what am I avoiding? No thunder, no voice, just a sudden image of her younger self, full of ambition, dreams she had buried under responsibility and fear. She cried, not because she was weak, but because she finally understood. That question didn't give her a 5-year plan. It gave her honesty. And honesty was enough to start. Here's what you need to understand. Answers don't always arrive as words. Sometimes they arrive as a feeling in your chest, a tightness, a release, a memory that won't leave. That's guidance. That's your deeper intelligence speaking, the part of you that knows when something is misaligned long before logic catches up. One powerful question cuts through mental chaos like a blade. It focuses your awareness. It tells your mind where to look. And when the mind stops running in circles, insight has space to rise. You don't chase the answer, you allow it. This is not mystical, this is human. Every breakthrough you've ever had started with the right question asked at the right moment. And that early morning hour is one of the few times your ego is quiet enough to step aside. So don't waste that moment with dozens of thoughts. Choose one question, ask it with courage, then listen, not with impatience, but with respect. Because when you learn to ask the right question in silence, you don't just find answers, you find direction. When that insight begins to rise, when thoughts start surfacing in that quiet hour, there is one mistake that steals more breakthroughs than failure ever could: trusting your memory. Your mind will whisper, I'll remember this in the morning. No, you won't. That is the lie. Because the thoughts that arrive between 3 and 5 a.m. are not ordinary thoughts. They are raw, unfiltered, honest. They don't survive daylight distractions unless you eye capture them. That's why you write, even if it makes no sense, even if it's messy, even if it feels unfinished. Writing is not about creating something beautiful. It's about releasing something true. When you put pen to paper or fingers to notes, you take what's swirling inside you and pull it into the real world. You give it weight, you give it form. And the moment it's written, it no longer owns you. You own it. I've seen people dismiss this step and stay stuck for years. And I've seen others change their entire lives because they wrote one honest sentence in the middle of the night. A sentence like, I'm tired of pretending I'm happy. Or, I know what I need to do, and I'm scared to admit it. That's not journaling. That's truth extraction. That's courage on paper. In that hour, your inner critic is quiet. Your ego is half asleep. That's why the words come out cleaner, sharper, more real. You're not editing yourself. You're not performing. You're unloading. And unloading is healing. Don't wait for logic. Don't wait for structure. Write fragments. Write questions. write anger, write fear, write hope. Sometimes the sentence that looks meaningless at night becomes the sentence that saves you months later. Sometimes you don't understand what you wrote until life proves it true. This is how clarity accumulates, not in one dramatic revelation, but in small written truths stacked over time. Pages become patterns, patterns become awareness, awareness becomes change. And listen to me closely. The ideas that arrive in that hour are fragile. They disappear fast if ignored. Writing is how you honor them. It says, "You matter enough to be remembered." So when you wake up and something stirs inside you, don't analyze it to death. Don't judge it. Don't try to be strong. Just write. Because some of the most powerful transformations in human history didn't start with confidence. They started with someone alone, in silence, writing down the truth they were finally brave enough to face. There is a moment in that early morning hour that is more dangerous than fear, more destructive than doubt, and more common than people want to admit. It's the moment your hand reaches for your phone. That single action can shut down an awakening faster than anything else. Because the second you start scrolling, you hand your attention to a world that has nothing to do with your growth. You trade inner clarity for external noise, and once that door closes, it rarely reopens the same way. Understand this: attention is sacred. What you focus on in that hour shapes the direction of your day, and eventually your life. Social media, news, random videos, they don't just distract you, they overwrite you. They replace your inner voice with other people's opinions, other people's fears, other people's urgency. And when that happens, the message that woke you up gets drowned out. I've seen people wake up with powerful realizations only to lose them in 10 minutes of scrolling. One man told me he woke up at 4:10 a.m. with a clear sense that he needed to leave a toxic environment. He felt it deeply, but he grabbed his phone, opened social media, and by the time he put it down, the feeling was gone, not resolved, just buried. He went back to sleep, and it took him 2 more painful years to come back to that same truth. Distraction doesn't erase truth, it delays it, and delays cost time, energy, and peace. That quiet hour is fragile. It's like a flame in still air. Scrolling is a gust of wind. You don't need willpower to protect that moment. You need discipline. Decide in advance. When I wake up at that hour, I don't feed the noise. I protect the silence. Silence is not empty. Silence is working. It's reorganizing your thoughts. It's reconnecting you with intuition. It's creating space for courage to form. But silence can't compete with constant stimulation. It needs your cooperation. If you must use your phone, use it with intention. Write, reflect, read something grounding, but never consume mindlessly. Consumption puts you back to sleep, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Great shifts don't happen in chaos. They happen in quiet, guarded moments. And that early morning awakening is one of them. So when your eyes open and the world is still, keep your attention where it belongs. Because the life you're meant to step into requires focus. And focus begins with the courage to disconnect from noise long enough to hear what's trying to rise inside you. That quiet hour is not meant to end in inspiration alone. Inspiration without action turns into frustration. Insight without movement becomes anxiety. This is why the final step matters more than people realize. You must decide. One small action. Before you go back to sleep. Not a grand plan. Not a dramatic life overhaul. Just one honest move that proves you listened. Most people wait for motivation to feel complete before they act. That's a mistake. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. In that early morning stillness, you are closer to truth than you will be all day. Your defenses are down, your excuses are quiet. So when a realization hits you, I need to speak up. I need to stop avoiding this. I need to start taking myself seriously. You don't let it float away. You anchor it with action. I've seen this change everything. A woman once woke up night after night feeling restless and heavy. One morning around 4 a.m., she finally admitted to herself that she was exhausted from saying yes to everyone. Before going back to sleep, she made one decision, Tomorrow, she would say no to one thing, just one. That small act didn't end her people-pleasing overnight, but it cracked the pattern. And once a pattern cracks, it can break. Action doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. Sending one message, scheduling one appointment, writing one boundary, taking one step you've been postponing. These are not small things. They are signals to your subconscious that change is no longer theoretical, it's happening. That hour gives you clarity, but clarity demands respect. If you ignore it, your mind learns a dangerous lesson. Insight doesn't matter. And once your mind believes that, it stops delivering insight altogether. But when you act, even in the smallest way, you build trust with yourself. You prove that when truth shows up, you respond. This is how momentum begins, not with confidence, not with certainty, but with a decision made in silence and honored in daylight. Before you close your eyes again, choose one step. Commit to it quietly. No announcements, no pressure, just integrity. Because the people who change their lives aren't the ones who wake up inspired. They're the ones who wake up inspired and then move. That early morning moment didn't come to comfort you, it came to prepare you, and preparation only becomes transformation when you act.